where we could be alone between city lights. We don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Livestream. You're getting a little preview here of some flights I did today with the new SharkByte 5.1 racing video transmitter and the unreleased HD0 RunCam camera. Unreleased because they had some QC issues with their first batch, so they gave away the first batch basically for the price of shipping. But Ryan Quellet, thank you, Ryan Quellet. He's a tester for HD0, I believe. He was gracious enough to send me... Oh, hit the wire there. I don't know if you saw that. Hit the wire. He was gracious enough. Here, we'll go back. We'll see it again. Hang on. Watch for me to hit the wire. People ask, do you ever hit those wires? Well, today I did. But I don't blame SharkByte for that. I was just getting so carried away with my ripping balls. I hit the wire. Thank you to Ryan Quellet for sending me this whole build ready to fly with the new camera on it to try out. I think it's pretty damn good. Bobby Baggs wants to know, what frame was it in? It is the 533 Switchback. There is a new long deck version of the Switchback that's specifically made for holding the SharkByte video transmitter. So it's a 533 Switchback. Oh, there I go again, right into the trees. Yay, good job, Joshua. That's going to be it. That's going to be the disarm right there. No, we're not getting back up. I broke a prop or bent a prop or something. So, yeah, thank you to Ryan Quellet for sending me that and giving me a chance to fly it. And I'll be doing a full review. Well, full review. I'll be doing a refresh of the SharkByte review I did, talking about this new camera and talking about the new video transmitter. They have made some real improvements for racing. That is SharkByte. Quad Doc says, I was SharkByte? I thought that was analog. Oh, everybody's gotta get an opinion in. Yeah, that was SharkByte. Here, let's bring it back up again. And bear in mind, you're seeing this encoded at like 4 megabits per second through my live stream. So to be fair, this is not the raw quality. To be fair, I think it definitively looks better than analog. Here, we get a little freeze frame here. I think it definitively looks better than analog, having flown it. Now, there are people who say, oh, the DVR doesn't look as good as the real thing. I firmly believe that I've done a comparison of a raw, like 20 megabit per second HDMI capture of SharkByte versus the DVR. And side by side, they look almost identical. So I do think the SharkByte DVR very, very fairly represents what you see in the goggles. But the YouTube compression certainly isn't helping. Here, now that I've freeze framed, the compression will probably catch up. I think it's better than analog. Like, especially going around this tree, for example, we start to get some detail off the branches that I don't think you get with analog. It's coming a long way, though. It's coming along. The output power needs to be higher. This is 200 milliwatts. And you can see, don't let the RSSI indicator up here fool you. Ryan Quellet says the RSSI indicator is messed up in this firmware. This is a pre-release firmware that is necessary to use if you're using this new RunCam camera. So, but the 200 milliwatts could be better. But the great thing about SharkByte is that even when you have lower output power, the image quality doesn't degrade. I don't know what's going on there. Well, maybe it's degrading a little bit. You get some breakup, but the image quality itself... Oh, that's my playback. My player is having trouble with the TS video format. I feel like this is better than analog. It's not as good as you might hope for, but I think it's better than analog. But hey, that's just me. I'm very... Oh, look at that dive, friends! That was a good dive. My goodness. And then there's a famous SharkByte static. Oh. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Is 200 milliwatt digital similar range as 200 milliwatt analog? Just from a pure gut check perspective, I would say it's similar. Yeah. Whoa. Here comes the rain. Do you hear that thunder? I should go down underneath my desk and change my plug over to the plug that runs off my power supply in case the power goes out tonight. Yeah, that is in fact the exact quadcopter that Evan Turner flew at I/O. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Tonight's sponsor is White Claw Mango Tall Boy. Remember the friend of mine who keeps leaving White Claws in my fridge? Well, it is what it is. We're going to get some rain tonight. I'm going to get some rain tonight. The hurricane, what is it, Irma? The Hurricane Irma rain is just beginning to show up here. So fingers crossed we don't get a power outage. And if we do get a power outage, I did not think... I have an extension cord underneath my desk that goes to a receptacle in my house that runs off the battery backup. But I don't run my computer off the battery. I have a solar system with a battery backup because we get power outages here a lot. I don't have my computer running off the battery backup because I leave my computer running at night. And if the power goes out in the middle of the night, I don't want my computer to run the battery down doing nothing. But before the live stream, I should have switched it over. But I didn't, so we'll take our chances. Yesterday, I did some streaming. I was playing a lawnmower simulator, and my whole computer died in the middle of the stream. Just dead. Turns out it was my power supply, and fortunately, Best Buy had a replacement power supply. I was able to get it this morning, get it put in, and we're back up again. So, for those of you who are wondering about my hat, this is a gift from Phantom FPV. He sometimes shows up for my streams. He sent me this cool hat, so I thought I'd try it out for the stream. I don't usually wear hats. What do you think? I've noticed, I'm not going to name names, but I've noticed there's guys out there losing their hair, and they wear a hat. And you see them every time with a hat on. And you're like, okay. And then one day you see him with a hat off and go, who's that old middle-aged balding man? Oh my God, it's him. And I wonder, maybe I should just start wearing a hat all the time. Hang on. I mean, I'm of the opinion that you should just own it, right? Just like, hey, I'm bald, own it. I mean, I'm not entirely bald. You can kind of see where the hairline is on my head. I'm not bald. I'm thinning. I'm thinning for sure. I'm going to try the hat tonight. I'm going to try this hat out. Thank you, Phantom, for sending me this hat. It is a nice hat. It does, people wearing hats on camera, it does block your eyes, though. It blocks the light. Johnny5, thank you so much for being here. Bubby FPV, thank you so much for being here. Bubby FPV got to fly on a para thingy in today's Rotor Ride episode. That's pretty cool. Dominic Clifton, thank you so much for being here. Just don't buy an exploding gigabyte PSU. Ha! Yeah, Josh Fisk, it's not the best time to have to cough up for a PSU. What do you think a 1,000 watt 80 plus gold PSU should go for? I paid like $200 for it. It's just what it is. It's a business expense. I need it. I need it to work. I needed to stream. I needed to be here with you tonight to mow the lawn. That's what we're going to be doing. Aloha Koa 59 has a question. Check it out, guys. Here's what we're doing. Oh, let me turn this. I don't want this camera on. Hang on. There, boom. Turn the camera off. I got you guys on the left side of the screen. I'll be checking you out in the chat. Boom. I'll be answering your questions, including this question from Aloha Koa. If you want to make sure I get to your question, hit this $sign right here. Leave a super chat. Pay a couple bucks. And I'll get your question, like this one from Morton Upshot, which I'll be getting to shortly. And if you want to help support the channel and join these beautiful people here in the... what? Okay. If you want to support these beautiful people, join these beautiful people, you can join my Discord server by joining my Patreon. My Patreon, link in the video description. Just for a couple bucks a month, you can support me. It's the single best way to support me, honestly. The reason Patreon is the single best way to support me is because there's a very good chance you'll forget you signed up. And then you'll just keep paying me every month without even knowing it. Okay, that's true, but maybe it's not the best thing to say. Let me get this question here. SharkByte is on sale for $99. Is there a new version coming out? I don't know anything about a new version of SharkByte coming out. Carl said that it was just a promotion. Just a promotion. That's all. Carl from Divimath said it's just a promotion to help people get into digital. I mean, we know that Red Cat, which owns Fat Shark, raised like $60 million in an IPO. So we know that Red Cat is sitting on a ton of cash. So maybe they've decided that they're going to put some of that cash into discounting SharkByte and trying to do like a loss leader. I don't know. I don't know any rumors. I don't know any rumors about a new version. I definitely have not heard anything about a product being discontinued or whatever. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy. It's going to drive me crazy. I'm so not used to wearing a hat. So as far as I know, they're just trying to do a promotion. That's all. That's all. Morton Upshot, thank you for a $5 super chat. I appreciate your feedback on my build sheet. Thank you. Thank you, Morton Upshot, for the super chat. Darshan Street Kumar, thank you for $5 New Zealand dollars. Appreciate your feedback about my 6-inch Apex build. She's complete now and flies like the wind. Apparently been giving people suggestions about their builds. DTFPV in the YouTube chat says, the CEO of Red Cat is talking at a big investor conference soon. Thank you, DTFPV, for sending that to FPV News. We will be keeping an eye on that, and if he says anything interesting, we will cover that in the news. Bubby FPV, I have not tried the baby Nazgul. Today, here's where I'm at. There's so many quads. People are like, are you going to try the baby Nazgul? Are you going to try the, oh, that reminds me. I don't have they sent me the Evoke. Patrick Sanar from iFlight was asking me if I got the Evoke. He says it's been delivered. Has it been delivered? No. No. It just says label created. Oh, I'm glad I remembered that. The iFlight Evoke, the Nazgul Baby, the new Emax Nanohawk, right? All these cruds. Have you tried them? I haven't tried them. Just recently, I flew the Amagod 250. Amagod 250. Here's what my take on the Amagod 250. At the beginning of the video, I'm like, 5-inch sub 250. It's too lightweight. It doesn't have great disc loading. It's too floaty. It's not durable. I think 3.5 inches is the perfect place to be for sub 250 freestyle. And then I fly and I've already recorded this video, so I'm giving you a little preview. Then I fly the GEP-RC Smart 35, which is a 3.5 inch sub 250 freestyle quad. And I'm like, yeah, see, it's pretty good. And then I fly the Amagod 250 and I'm like, whoa. And it just kind of knocks my socks off. So, there are downsides, but the Amagod 250, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I still am not sure everybody will like it best compared to like a 3.5 inch sub 250. If you're willing to go above 250, then of course lots of things are going on. But Amagod 250, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Gem Fan Hobby, very glad to see you here, my friend. Dominic Clifton says, why not go to the conference and ask him some questions? Yeah. Of all the things that'll get me on a plane, I don't know about that. The blue thing in the background that people are asking about is a lava lamp given to me by Aaron Ciati. Unfortunately, the camera lighting, it makes it so you can't actually make out that it's a lava lamp. Tim Gutentag says, it's not sub 250 with a Vista. I disagree with you, sir. Tim Gutentag, the Amagod 250 that I have is sub 250 with a Vista, and I believe it's a 350 milliamp hour 6S. It comes in at around 235 grams. Got a little bit to spare. Guarantee. I definitely would not have reviewed it as a sub 250 if I didn't verify it was sub 250. It obviously depends on what battery you put on it. But the GEP-RC Smart 35 also sub 250 with a Vista in it. Oh, Gamma Gonads in the Discord. Gamma Gonads in the Discord has a harassment charge for flying a 156 gram drone in his neighborhood. He came and asked about it on the Discord, and my advice to him was get a lawyer. Because once you've got a charge, man, you can't, it's just, you just need a lawyer at that point. He says, I've spent over $2,500 now for doing something completely legal. Wish me luck. Good luck, sir. He says his harassment charge, his court date is tomorrow. Gamma Gonads, I certainly hope the lawyer earns their pay. It really sucks that your choices in today's world, I mean, it's just the way it is. Your choices are either just suck it up and take it and let the police and the court system just rake you over the coals, or pay out the ass for a lawyer and hopefully get a good defense. It means that justice is usually only available to those with the money for a good lawyer. And that's not really fair. So, Ryan Quellet, thank you for a $5 super chat. He says, I don't see rainbow flashes on SharkByte this severe when flying. Curious what antennas you are using on the VRX. It is the VAS Minion. It is the VAS Minion antenna, and they are brand new and have never been used in flight, only on the SharkByte. So Ryan says, I will get you the 1000 milliwatt when it's ready. Which is an interesting thing because as far as I know, that's the first time anyone has publicly confirmed that the 1000 milliwatt SharkByte VTX exists. But if anybody would know, it's Ryan Quellet. Hopefully Ryan has not just spilled the beans and gotten himself in trouble, but there you go. Ryan, I would guess that the reason you don't see rainbow flashes like that is because I'm flying in a more obstructed environment. You mostly see those flashes when I'm going behind a big stand of trees or behind the barn. So that's my guess. But that's the beauty of sending it to someone else. Somebody sent me a 3D printed frame, and he said, oh, this frame, I've tested it. It's durable. It's great. He sent it to me. I flew it. I crashed it a few times. It held up to a few crashes. Then on like the third or fourth crash, it just got unlucky or whatever, and it ripped the back leg off of it and broke it into 3 pieces. And I only tell that story because I can't tell you how many times I've heard this never happened in our testing. And that doesn't mean that like I'm not trying to make out like I'm something special. I'm just saying that when someone who doesn't give a crap about your precious baby flies it and tests it, oftentimes they will find things that you haven't found. And some of that is just because they're a different person than you, but some of that is because, whether consciously or subconsciously, a lot of times you will hold back on your precious baby because you don't want to break it or you don't want to show it up. And then someone with no preconceived notions takes it out, and then suddenly it doesn't perform as well. But that's the value of independent third-party testing. So. Swamian PC asks in the YouTube chat, what antenna can I use to upgrade the antenna on the Jumper T Lite? Swamian, you can get Crossfire or Ghost or Express LRS or even Tracer. Don't waste your time trying to upgrade the 2.4 gigahertz antenna on your multi-protocol module or your FreeSky radio. It doesn't help enough to make it worth it. A higher gain antenna is going to give you a more focused signal, okay? Which means that you'll get a little bit more range in this direction, but less range in that direction, which means that you just have to become hyper aware of where you're pointing your antenna. Unless you go to a really directional antenna, like a Yagi, or like a high gain patch antenna for doing some kind of like really long range stuff. The problem with really high gain antennas is that they're very, very focused beam. It's like a spotlight or a pencil beam. And that means that you can only fly out and back. If you fly to the side, boop, you lose the signal. So the antenna that comes on your radio is a fairly omnidirectional antenna. It's got a fairly spherical coverage pattern, and you mostly don't have to think too much about where the antenna is aimed. The higher the gain antenna you put on your radio, the more you have to think about how much it's aimed. So you'll go from a 2 dBi to a 5 dBi antenna, and you'll get, I'd say, at best, 3 additional dB of gain in one direction. 3 dB of gain is not nothing. It's a little more, but it's not much. Whereas if you go from FreeSky to something like Ghost, Express LRS, or Crossfire, you'll get like 10 times more range, 20 times more range. You'll never have to think about failsafe again. So when people say, I'm thinking about upgrading the antenna on my radio, I say, just don't bother. Even if you upgrade the antenna, it's not going to get that much better, and it's going to get more directional. So it'll get better in one way, but worse in the other. And it's just not, just save your pennies. Express LRS is not any more expensive than FreeSky these days. So if you can't afford Crossfire, Ghost, or Tracer doesn't have spectacular range compared to Crossfire, Ghost, and Express LRS, but it has okay range. Just save your pennies. Get Express LRS, get Ghost, get Crossfire, and just leave that 2.4 gigahertz BS behind. Phantom FPV, good to see you. I was hoping you'd drop by, man. I was hoping you'd drop by. Phantom, I wore this hat at the Global Qualifier, and I got to tell you, I don't wear hats a lot. I'm not usually a hat wearing guy, but I wore this because I was like, okay, let's wear it. It really is nice to turn the hat around and have your goggles up on your head without the strap kind of biting into your skin. It's really nice to be able to take the goggles off your forehead and not have like a goggle imprint on your forehead. I may start wearing a baseball cap when I wear goggles. It was pretty nice. Yeah. Did you private the VOD of the Lawnmower Sim stream? Asks Tim Gutentag. I did a little bit of streaming last night of a game called Lawnmower Sim. I didn't private it, but I unlisted it because it's not really... those things are just little treats for people who happen to come by and see them. It's unlisted now. There is a link in my Discord if you wanted to find it. But I don't want to clutter up the videos page with weird stuff like that. I just kind of want that to be a little bit of a treat for people who happen to notice. So, True Gent, thank you for a $5 super chat. Is TBS Fusion analog mod for the DJI V2 goggles worth it, or get a second pair just for analog? True Gent, as someone who is fortunate enough to have a bunch of analog goggles for various reasons, because this is my job, I never use the analog input on my DJI goggles. Analog goggles are a little bit lower latency. They're lighter weight. The interface is simpler. In the DJI goggles, you have to go down to AV input and all that nonsense. If you have the money to just get a second set of analog goggles, that's what I would do. Yeah, you have to carry 2 goggles with you, but I mean, I'd rather carry 2 goggles in my backpack than have to use the analog mod on a DJI goggles. Now, if you don't have all the money in the world to buy a second set of goggles, like a BDI Digidapter with Fusion is it's acceptable. A lot of people use that. But if you're asking the question, which should I do, then it means that analog goggles are in your budget, and that's clearly a better thing to do. Am I planning to do a review of any of the Chris Rosser AOS frames? Asks El Ray. El Ray, we covered the Chris Rosser AOS frame in the new product roundup, and I gave some of them away. As far as a review, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. See, I think it's hard to review a frame without doing a whole build video around the frame and really learning the experience. I have in the past done frame reviews where I just review a frame by itself. But I these days, when I think about doing a frame review, I think, well, how can I review a frame if I don't build it and then fly it? So it means it's a pretty big investment in time to choose a frame to review, which doesn't mean I wouldn't review the AOS, just that it would be, it's not as simple as just saying, I'm going to review it. But AOS is a good frame. There's no doubt. Big oily guy. Thank you for a $5 super chat. He's sick hat. Phantom is the man. He is the man. That is true. He's the man. Maybe I'll do another lawn mowing live stream. See if my computer blows up. I don't know. Maybe instead of a lawn, there's another game I like to play, which is SnowRunner, which is similar to the lawn mowing game in that it's a kind of slow paced. You just kind of driving around doing things at a slow pace. I find those games really relaxing. Lawn mowing simulator is a little too close to what I actually do, right? It's like, I might as well just be mowing my lawn. But SnowRunner, I don't drive trucks in real life. Maybe we'll do a SnowRunner stream. Gem Fan Hobby talking up the 51477s. Thank you, Gem Fan. They are good. I like them. They're good props. Will we get any more late night email streams? Asks Sync Happens 86. I don't know, man. Those were really fun. These days, I'm not staying up till 4 in the morning. That's just not where my sleep schedule's at. So, yeah. I couldn't say. Those were kind of a spur of the moment thing, and maybe they'll happen again, but there's things like these live streams, the Sunday, the Monday, the Tuesday live stream. I commit to doing them. I feel like I have to do them, right? And in some sense that makes them an obligation. But the late night email streams, like I just was like, let's do it. Let's do this thing. And they were kind of fun. And maybe I'll feel like that again, but I don't want to make it an obligation. And in some sense that'll take the fun out of it. Ciati does stream. I forget who. I didn't. Metal Dirtskin. Ciati does stream SnowRunner. I would love to play with him, but he plays on PlayStation and I play on PC, and they don't have crossplay. So I can't play with him. Euro Truck Simulator Synthetic Avian. I don't know, man. I like to off-road the mud physics in SnowRunner. I'm not sure Euro Truck Simulator would be stimulating enough for me. Jackalope FPV. Are the flight controller and ESC on the Lumineer build yours? You mean the JB flight controller and ESC? Yeah. Yeah, they're mine. Aerobrat says the information density is unparalleled. I appreciate that. The ESC on it is not I don't have a branded ESC, but it's just the iFlight ESC that is sold with the JBF7. I don't use a wheel for SnowRunner, Fog Doctor. I use a controller. I think a wheel would make the situation more realistic, but I don't have a wheel. Kmart FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Can you talk about the best battery solution for the DJI goggles? 18650s in a Fat Shark case, DJI Smart Battery, 2S battery in your pocket. Thanks. Kmart FPV, what I usually use for the DJI goggles, I don't find that the DJI head strap works well with like a Fat Shark battery, and the DJI goggles will suck a Fat Shark battery pack with the 18650 cells. They'll suck it dry quicker than I like. I'm not going to give a time because I'm not sure, but they'll suck it dry faster than I like. So I have used the DJI battery pack, the little 2-cell battery pack, and I don't know why, but it lasts a pretty good length of time. The other thing I'll just use is a 4-cell battery from back when I had most of my quads were 4S. I have a bunch of 4-cell batteries, and I'll just have a 4-cell battery in my pocket with an XT60 to barrel plug. Those are the things I usually do. Chris Sostomos Stivaktas. Thank you for 10 Australian dollars. He says you can just call me Chris, but I like to say Chrysostomos. Thank you, Chris, for a $10 super chat. I have a TBS 69, and after I bound it with Crossfire 411, it won't bind anymore. It's just stuck on a green light. Chris, the workaround whenever you have a TBS Crossfire receiver that is stuck is to do emergency recovery. And there's a page out there, Kamikatsu FPV has the page where he talks about what to do. And every freaking time I have to accept cookies. I got it. I accept the cookies. So what you do is you hold the bind button, you power up the receiver while holding the bind button, and the LED flashes rapidly. You release the button for about a second and then push and hold the button again, and the LED starts to go blink, 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 and then it goes, and when it starts flashing, you can release the button. You just wait until it finishes going, and then it starts going blink, blink, and then it's done. And then you power cycle the receiver and you can bind it again. What that does is it reloads a firmware that is stored on the receiver that is like a known good firmware, and it just refreshes it back to good. Okay. That's what I would do. I hope it'll work. El Rey, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thanks for all your help getting into FPV. Thank you, El Rey. Chris Croft says, if I update to a different version of Crossfire, I can get it to bind again. I mean, I would just do emergency recovery on the 69 and then bind it with 609 and let it update. That's what I would do. Crash Gordon, thank you for a $5 super chat. After replacing my ESC, when I check bidirectional D-shot in Betaflight and then save, it unchecks itself. Crash Gordon, usually when the options in Betaflight refuse to take, it means that you're on Betaflight 4.3, but you're on configurator 10.7. You're on an old configurator version and a new Betaflight version, or vice versa. It might mean that your flight controller doesn't support bidirectional D-shot at all. That's possible. That's going to be my guess, Crash Gordon. Cricket FPV is here. Cricket FPV doing that milk crate challenge. I don't know if he was serious, but Cricket said he was putting up $1,000 for a milk crate challenge. If you don't know what milk crate challenge is, just look it up. Crash Gordon says it did work before replacing the ESC. Well, here's the thing, Crash Gordon. The flight controller does not know whether the ESC supports bidirectional D-shot. If you check that box and hit save and it unchecks itself, that cannot have anything to do with your ESC. I mean, the flight controller will enable the option. It doesn't care. So I can't imagine any mechanism whereby changing the ESC would cause that option to disable itself. I can't imagine any situation where anything about the ESC would cause the flight controller to disable itself. Something doesn't add up. Apple asks, what D-shot protocol do you have selected? Okay, let's see where this is going. Delta Bravo Tech asks, has anybody ever noticed the Fat Shark DVR sometimes splits the video file, creating a small short file and then continuing the rest of the video in a second file? Delta Bravo, the Fat Shark DVR splits the file anytime it thinks that the signal has cut off. What it's trying to do is create files that contain only static so you can get rid of them, and create files that contain only flying. So if in the middle of a flight, there's like a glitch in the signal that causes like the sync pulses to get lost, then it could cause the DVR to break. That's my guess as to what's happening. Jackalope FPV asks about my ABCs of FPV video. Yeah, I was working on a concept. I mean, I guess technically I still am. A concept video, which was ABCs of FPV, one tip for every letter of the alphabet. I got a lot of good tips from the people on my Discord. I don't think I finished all the letters of the alphabet is what happened. And I didn't feel like I didn't end up finishing the video. Maybe I still will. Sync Happens 86, thank you for a $5 super chat. Since joining your Patreon and your Discord, I've gone from 1 quad to 4 quads. Thanks for helping me dispose of my income. Well, thank you for helping dispose of your income by joining my Patreon. I really appreciate that. Afix FPV says, thank you for a $5 super chat, Afix. I'm building my first 6S with 5-inch FPV cycle motors. I want to use the QAVS JB frame, but also want an air unit. Will I be disappointed with the QAVS Johnny? Afix, suffice it to say, you cannot fit the air unit in the JB. It's made for the Vista. And my personal opinion is that the Vista is where you want to be for freestyle. Now, you disagree with that, and I'm not going to try and change your mind. I just want to say, I think the air unit, the advantages of the air unit versus its weight, I don't find them compelling. So, fair enough. Will you be disappointed with the Johnny? I mean, I could say what you'll be disappointed with. Can't read your mind. But the Johnny is a good frame. It's a little heavier. It's a little larger than the JBQ-AVS. But if you want the air unit, maybe you're okay with a bigger, heavier frame. So be it. Majid Al-Suwaidi. Thank you for $17.99 AED. What is an AED? Arab Emirates Dirham. Thank you for $17.99 AED. I have a Hobbywing X-Rotor 4-in-1 ESC with a 10-pin connector. How can I connect it to a Lux HD H7? All right. Well, let's do it. Hobbywing X-Rotor 4-in-1. We're going to have some stimulating freaking content, but we're going to answer this question. The first thing we got to do is we got to get the pinout for this stupid ESC. Thanks, Hobbywing, for making it so easy to know what your damn pinout is. Cool. Okay, that'll do. Copy image. Here, wait. Let's do this. Let's do a screen grab. Okay. Okay. We got the Hobbywing ESC. Can I expand it? Can I rotate this? How do I rotate? Hello. Oh, here we go. Is that it? No. How do I rotate? Rotate! Snip and sketch. I don't know if you can rotate. Touch writing. No. Really? Can I not rotate? That's dumb. Okay. All right, fine. We'll just go to damn Photoshop. I don't care. Hold on. We'll start Photoshop. Okay, so then what else do we need? The Lumiere Lux HD. Is it the HD or the HD Lite? Which one does he have? Hobbywing X-Rotor and Lux HD H7. Okay. Let's get this guy's pinout. Where's a pinout diagram for it? I just need... Okay, here we go. This will do. Copy image. All right. So now we'll go to Photoshop. And... Great. And where's our X-Rotor? Copy image. Can I make this bigger? Yes. There we go. Okay, and paste. Okay, we'll turn that way. Great. And we will make this guy a little bigger. Great. Okay, now we're cooking. Okay, so we got our pinout diagram here. We can just barely read the pinout for the Hobbywing. It is 4321. I'm going to guess that this is 5-volt ground current, battery ground, and NC. NC means no connection or not connected, which means we're just going to ignore it. It doesn't do anything. So 4, 3, 2, and 1 are easy. Those are your motor outputs. I should really do this. I'm going to draw a line. Do I want a brush? Brush. You know what? Edit, copy, merge. Let's go back to what I know best. My days as a PowerPoint jockey. Boom. There we go. PowerPoint, baby. What did you do in your live stream? Well, yesterday I mowed the lawn in real time for 2 hours. Today I played with PowerPoint. All right, so 4, 3, 2, 1 are going to be easy. Let's do shape outline. We'll just make these orange. They're just going to go from 4 to 4. Really? Can I have a... There we go. Can I make it thicker? Boom. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So 4 to 4. 3 to 3, 2 to 2, and 1 to 1. Easy peasy. Such as it is. I'm not sure I'm lining these up exactly right, but we'll do our best. 4, 3, 2, 1 to 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, we got 5 volts. That means the ESC has an onboard 5-volt voltage regulator, but the Luminaire Lux H7 does not have a 5-volt input, so we're not going to use that. Some flight controllers do take a 5-volt input from the ESC. Hobbywing flight controllers do. The Luminaire Lux just gets VBAT. It does not need a separate 5-volt input, so we are not going to use the 5-volt pad. We're going to ignore that. Ground, of course, we need ground. So we're going to make a black wire here for ground. So we'll skip 1. That's the 5-volt. We skip it. Ground is going to go to ground. Current is going to go to CU1, current. We'll make that a different color. How about like blue? BAT is VBAT. And that's going to go to VBAT, obviously. We'll make that red. And then we got another ground, but the Luminaire Lux doesn't have 2 grounds in the plug, so we'll ignore that. And we've got NC. We're good. We're done. There's one more that we haven't done, and that's RX8. So when a flight controller has an RX pad in the ESC plug, it means that it is for ESC telemetry. However, this ESC doesn't have a telemetry output. It doesn't have a TX or telemetry wire. So RX8 is not going to be used, and the ESC, just because the ESC doesn't support that. Boom. Woo! Now let's go back to the chat and let's just see how much people have really enjoyed this stimulating. Oh, that's not bad. Now my viewership didn't really drop off. Fantastic. There we go. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Okay, that's $17.99 AED. Thomas Shoes World, thank you for a $5 super chat, just for being me. Thank you so much, Thomas. And we are more or less caught up on super chats. Cyclimbo, thank you for a $10 super chat. What would it take to get an official JB OpenTX sound pack for patrons? I've thought about doing that, but of all the things I spend my time on a daily basis, that just never rises to the top. It does sound really fun, though, doesn't it? I guess here's what it would take. I'll tell you what it would take. If somebody puts together a spreadsheet of phrases that you need me to say, okay? If somebody gives me a list of phrases that you need me to say, I will give you a WAV file of me saying the phrases. And then you have to slice them up and turn them into an actual OpenTX sound pack. And if you do that, I mean, how long will it take to just read all the phrases? It won't take that long. If you're willing to do the work of slicing them up. So Cyclimbo, I'm answering your question, but whoever, anybody out there, I will make a sound pack for my patrons. And you're welcome to put other sounds in there and other phrases. You're welcome to do that. Yeah. All right. Dustin McFall, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thanks for the email reply. Thank you, Dustin. Jacob Nader 1000, thanks for a $5 super chat. Says, you're awesome. I do like to be told that I'm awesome. I want to know if and what antennas will work better on my rapid fire. I have the Spironet patch and the Immersion RC, Omni Immersion RC on HDO2s. I got to tell you, the Spironet patch is a damn good antenna. It is. I like the Vaz Ion V2. It's a very good antenna. The Vaz Pepperbox and the True RC Crosshair are both good. But honestly, if you have rapid fire with the Spyronet patch and the Immersion RC Omni, those are actually really good antennas. I don't think it's going to be that much better. That's the thing. Bo Dean, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thoughts on the FreeSky X20S transmitter? Let's pull that up. FreeSky Tandem X20S. What are we going to say about this? Well, first thing we're going to say is the page isn't loading. The FreeSky Tandem X20S. Let's just start by saying that FreeSky builds very nice radios. I have no doubt that this radio will feel more sturdy, will feel more premium than any Radio Master or Jumper has ever made. It's going to feel like a real premium radio. FreeSky, if you look at, and I say that because their Horus radios already are like that. Their Horus X10. Now, this radio has built-in FreeSky. Oh boy, who cares? I will be running Crossfire, Ghost, Express LRS, Tracer, whatever. And that starts to get into some of the reasons why I might stay away from it. Because FreeSky is actively hostile to allowing third parties to work with their radios. It's still possible, but they have taken steps. For example, if you buy a FreeSky radio right now, at least some of their radios, I guess I can't be sure this is true for all of their radios. At least some of their radios, if you go to the tools menu, Crossfire Lewis script is not there. It's just gone. And if you try to go to external module, Crossfire is not an option. They've removed it from their build of OpenTX. So even if you get a Crossfire module, you can't use it. Now, it's easy to fix that by flashing OpenTX to the radio, the actual official OpenTX, not the nerfed FreeSky version that they ship with. So it's not the end of the world. But things like that, things like the inverter mod, and the other compatibility BS that they've done with their firmwares, which we're not going to go into because I'm sure most of you have heard it all before, they steer me away from FreeSky unless I just want to be in the FreeSky ecosystem. And I mean, come on, you buy a Futaba radio, you're going to use Futaba receivers. Except that's not the attitude that I have. I want this open source attitude. If you buy the X20S, is there an OpenTX build for it yet? I don't think there is. You tell me in the chat if that has happened. It ships with EthOS. EthOS might be amazing. I don't care. I like OpenTX because OpenTX is where Express LRS is. OpenTX is where Ghost is. OpenTX is where Tracer is. And way back in the day, OpenTX was where Crossfire was. All of the new cool shit in FPV is in OpenTX first. Got a Futaba radio? You can run Crossfire on some Futaba radios. You can run Crossfire on some Spectrum radios. Still can't run Ghost. Still can't run Express LRS. Just out of luck. So I want to do all the new cool shit in FPV. And the new cool shit is on OpenTX. So no matter how good this radio might be, the fact that it runs EthOS would steer me away from it. Now, I am sure that someday OpenTX will be available for this radio. I guarantee you the OpenTX or maybe the EdgeTX devs are working on this right now. I mean, I'm sure that it's coming. So then I would ask, well, okay, how is it as a radio? And I had a Horus X10. I reviewed one years ago, and I thought about keeping it. I didn't keep it as my main radio. I kept my X9D. Because the Horus X10 was just so big and cumbersome. And every time I sort of took it out of my bag, I kind of felt like, I don't know. I just was worried I was going to break it or drop it. I mean, not like I was looking forward to dropping my X9D, but I kind of like the fact that my radio felt a little bit like a cheap toy because I just bash it around and all. I don't know. Like, I'm not flying a $10,000 jet where when I want my radio to feel like an ultra premium piece of equipment to interface with my expensive jet. I'm flying a freaking mini quad that I smash into the wall a zillion times. It just seemed like overkill. It seemed like overkill. And I feel like the X20 feels like overkill too. The build quality is certainly amazing. But that's what I think about the X20. Evan Turanen wants to know, what do you think about the price drop of SharkByte, going from $250 to $100? We did talk about that a little earlier, but he's taking it a little bit of a different direction. He's asking, if the SharkByte receiver is $100, is it worth it for people who already have nice analog goggles but want to get in the door with digital? Evan, I think if you're racing, or if you are okay with the relatively short range of today's SharkByte VTXs, then there's never been a better time to get into SharkByte. Frankly, there are probably a lot of people out there with enough budget that $100 is a splurge for them. There are probably people out there who will buy a SharkByte receiver for $100 just because someday SharkByte might be interesting to play with. And this is the best price, I think, that you're going to see for a SharkByte receiver. I mean, $250 to $100, that's really inexpensive. Is it time to jump away from analog right now to SharkByte? If you're not racing, no. The output power and range of SharkByte is just not there compared to analog. Even if you are racing, it still remains to be seen whether the durability of the new VTX is sufficient, although they specifically are trying to address that with the new VTX, so maybe they succeeded. But at $100 that's the price of that's less than a rapid fire. So if you've got an FPV budget of a few $100s a month for spare parts and just nonsense, maybe you'd like to blow $100 on the SharkByte receiver, get a VTX, try it out. I don't think that it's time yet to just throw all your analog stuff in the trash and go SharkByte. I don't think it's quite there yet. They're trying though. Mike Bergman says, are they long gone for $99? I don't know, Mike. Are they still in stock? SharkByte. Are they still in stock? Oop. Back order. Dang it. Dang it, Bobby. What are you doing buying all this SharkByte? Still available at Rotor Riot. Here, let's do a little affiliate link here. Boom, affiliate link. Go buy it. Is it the SharkByte VTX only, or is it a receiver also? It's the other way around, Morton Upshot. It's the SharkByte receiver without a VTX. Oh, no, it's also back-ordered. It says stock available. What does that mean? Pre-order now, but stock available. Rotor Riot, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. How is it available if it's pre-order? They must be about to get some shipping, some stock, so they're letting you pre-order. That must be what they're doing. What's in my cart? Oh, anyway. Anyway, they're still selling it. The point is, they're still selling it for $99. It's not in stock now, but you can lock in the price, I guess is what they're saying. Jeremy Sarge says, my SharkByte had better range than my analog stuff. Jeremy Sarge, I don't know how you could tell me that SharkByte at 200 milliwatts is going to beat analog at 1 watt plus. There's no world in which that could possibly be true. There's no world. There's got to be something else to your statement to make that make sense. I don't know. BeepTube says the same thing. I get better signal through my house and through the woods with SharkByte than I do with 800 milliwatt or 1 watt analog plus rapid fire. There you go. I don't know how that, I don't know. Maybe with 500 milliwatts, but not at I don't see how 200 milliwatts is possibly going to beat 800 milliwatts analog. Doesn't seem possible, with all due respect. I gotta fly here. There you go, 400 milliwatt. It kicks my 1 watt stuff all day. I mean, I just know, and here's the part where everybody goes, I don't know, Bardwell, yours is so weird. Yeah, that's what everyone says. And then I'm like, well, am I the only one? Am I taking crazy pills? Right? You can see for yourself. Hang on, let me find a good one. You can see for yourself. Here we go. So there we go. Vaz Minion antennas, right? Brand new, good quality, right from Alex Greaves' sweaty little hands. This quadcopter sent to me by Ryan Quellet, built by him, set up by him. Right? So, you know, it's the exact same quadcopter Evan Turner flew at I.O. Here we go. Oh, and also, let's see. Right here. Oh, here we go. Power, 200 milliwatts. Low power mode, off. You can verify the settings, right? Everything is as it should be. If there's something not right, feel free to tell me. Because I'd rather find out about it now than after I release the video and somebody says, oh, Bardwell, you screwed up. But I feel like, here we go, right? All right, here we go. Away we go into the sky. And here, and you know my property. You know right where I am. You know how far I am, and you can kind of get a sense of where the trees are. I'm on my porch. Here we go, right behind these trees. Boom, got some breakup. Yeah, okay, not the end of the world. And in a second, we're going to go behind the barn, which is like the litmus test. And my rule of thumb is that when I fly behind the barn, 25 milliwatts, I get full breakup on analog. 200 milliwatts, it just barely makes it through. And then like 400 milliwatts, it's good to go. So you can see for yourself how much breakup I'm getting. Let's fast forward a little. Going behind the house. Where's behind the barn? Did I go behind the barn? Oh, there it was. All right, here we go. We'll go behind the barn. Ready? Oh, not bad. I mean, my gut feeling is that feels just about like 200 milliwatts analog. Not quite full breakup, but getting close. And that's what happens with analog when I do it. So it feels pretty similar to analog. This is SharkByte. I don't feel like SharkByte is penetrating more than analog. Just based on my... You know, people say, Bardwell, you never leave your house. You always fly at your house. Yeah, well, I think I have a pretty damn good sense of how much penetration I get at a given output power. It's the one advantage of never leaving my damn house. Anyway, that's my take on it. Let's see what it is. You say what you want to say. I mean, you could argue that SharkByte is maybe a little better in terms of usable range. You could argue that. I mean, this is not rigorous. This is not rigorous Wesley Vardy style testing. But I don't think it's like twice as good as analog, you know, watt for watt. That's just my take. Jeremy Sarge, more power to you, my friend. Jeremy Sarge says, I fly back to back. SharkByte is so much better. More power to you. I can only speak to my own experience, though. I can only speak to my own experience. Anyway, I'm impressed though. I mean, I would take this over 200 milliwatt analog any day. I didn't say SharkByte was worse watt for watt. I said SharkByte is worse because it only goes to 200 or 500 milliwatts, and analog goes to 1 watt or more. Watt for watt, I think SharkByte is as good or better. But until SharkByte makes a 1 watt VTX, watt for watt doesn't matter. Because I can go out and buy a 1.3 watt Rush Solo VTX, and it will beat a 200 milliwatt SharkByte VTX all day, every day. That's my point. Quaddoc says Steel's analog setups are way cleaner than this. You are correct. You are correct about that. But Steel is not transmitting at 200 milliwatts. Karthik says your signal bar is too low even from the beginning. Karthik, I asked Ryan Quellet about that. Ryan says the firmware that is on the goggles has a bug in the RSSI readout. It is only the RSSI readout, though. I'll show you, just so you know I'm not making this up. I asked him about that. I was like, why is it so low? And he said, look, you can see right here. I asked, is there a way for sure to know that the VTX is going to full power? While flying, I often have 1 bar. Ryan Quellet said, the firmware you're flying is a few months old. The signal bars and OSD font have been improved since then. And I said, okay, I don't want people in the video to accuse me of not having the VTX at full power. So yeah, the VTX is at 200 milliwatts, I promise. Anyway. John Goblin asks, can you tell the difference between the variable latency of DJI and the fixed latency of SharkByte? Absolutely, John Goblin. Why, 100% can. And that's especially true because lately I've been flying the DJI Caddx Polar. And I haven't been, the quads I've been reviewing haven't had the Nebula Nano Pro or the other 120 FPS camera. So not only is the latency variable, but it's starting at 35 milliseconds and going up. I absolutely can tell when there are changes in the latency. 100%. You'll dive behind an obstacle and there's just this little moment of what's going on when the latency changes. I'm not saying it's a deal breaker, and you can even get used to it, but it totally is there. The SharkByte system has lower latency, depending on who's measuring it. Mads Tech, the way he measured it, I gotta take the hat off. It's hurting my ears. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's that sexy head. The way my headphones are resting on my head is hurting my ears with the hat on. Okay, thank you, Phantom. So Mads Tech measured the SharkByte latency at something around 35 milliseconds. Ryan Quellet and a guy he was working with, whose name is, I think it's Jeff, but I don't remember his last name. They used a different method to measure it and got it down, measured it as low between 4 and 19 milliseconds. I want to emphasize that neither of those numbers are right or wrong. It just depends on how you're measuring it. Although I will say the Mads Tech method, he removed the Fresnel lens from the goggle and the number changed. So I'm going to say that Mads Tech's method may not be as accurate as Ryan Quellet's method because it seems like Mads Tech was still kind of dialing in how he was measuring the latency. Ryan Quellet's testing showed that there was a change in the latency of the SharkByte system over a period of about, I think it was about 15 minutes, where the latency started at like 4 milliseconds, and then over a period of 15 minutes, it slowly went up to about 19 milliseconds, and then went back down to like 4 milliseconds. And it suggested that there might be some kind of a buffer synchronization issue that is cycling over about a 15-minute period. They brought that back to Divimath, and Carl from Divimath thinks he knows what the issue is and is going to be able to fix it and bring the SharkByte latency down to approximately a 5 millisecond fixed latency. So when you say that the latency of SharkByte is not fixed, there are several things you might mean. One of them is that anytime you are measuring the latency of a display, you're going to get some random variation depending on the frame timing, right? And that random variation will vary around an average of the true latency, okay? But the latency itself is not variable. It's just your measurement is varying around the true value. The other thing is we've got this cycling latency that Ryan Quellet discovered between 4 and 19 milliseconds over a period of about 15 minutes. Now that is true variable latency and maybe a result of some kind of an issue with the SharkByte system and maybe fixed. But the SharkByte latency is, relatively speaking to the DJI, fixed, because the DJI latency, setting aside all that, the latency goes up and down as the modulation changes, and that's just a fact. The main reason that the DJI latency changes is that when DJI packets get lost, they are retransmitted, and that retransmission takes time. And so the more retransmissions you have, the slower the DJI latency is. Whereas SharkByte doesn't do that, and so in that sense, SharkByte is fixed latency. BeepTube thinks I was getting Wi-Fi interference. It suggests I put it on race 8 and see if that helps. That's worth a try. That's worth a try. I do see that it was on race 3 and not race 8. And I usually do run my analog stuff on race 8 to make sure that it's staying away from the Wi-Fi. I could do that. Except no, I'm not sure that I can do that because as you can hear from the thunder outside, Hurricane Irma is coming, or Ira, or what the hell it is. Hurricane, what is it? Ida. Hurricane Ida is coming, and it's going to be raining for the next 3 days. Okay. So I won't be able to fly it. I mean, I'm leaving Wednesday for the playa, so I won't be able to fly it. But yeah, maybe the range would be a little better. I mean, to be fair, this is not the first time I've flown SharkByte, so I'm not basing my statements only on this one experience. Yeah. Is SharkByte 1080p? No, 1IFPV. SharkByte, the RF, the wireless video signal is 720p. Some have suggested that the effective resolution of the camera is not actually 720p, that the camera is resolving less resolution than that, and it's essentially being encoded into a 720p stream. The SharkByte module is capable of outputting a 1080p upscaled image if you have a display that doesn't take a 720p signal. But the signal itself is only 720p, and the resolution of the camera may be even less than that. HD0, the chipset used in SharkByte HD0, does support 1080p 30 as a transmission mode, but that is not used by SharkByte and presumably would have bad range or bad latency. As far as people uploading shitty DVR recordings, I want to say, as I said before, I have tested a 20 megabit per second 720p recording, a direct HDMI recording versus the SharkByte DVR. I made a video about it, and I think they are very comparable. So I don't agree with the people who say SharkByte DVR is bad. I think it is a very, very close reflection of what you're seeing in the goggles. As far as, I think the main place that the quality is reduced is in YouTube, which is why I usually upload my videos in 4K or 2.7K to try to get the maximum bit rate and resolution, but it's still YouTube. Yeah. Thank you, Anthony DeStefano, for a $2 super chat. Is the Firefly Baby DJI HD V2 any good? I haven't flown it, so I can't say for sure. What do you guys think of the Firefly Baby DJI HD V2? It's, what is it, like 60 grams? What is it? I said V21, V2. What's the best way to upload 720p video to YouTube, asks John Goblin. Upscale it to 1080? John, in my experience, 2.7K, 1440p is a sweet spot that even at 1080, it still could be way better. So I would upload minimum 2.7K, and if you don't care, upload in 4K. Like export at 4K 75 megabits per second and upload it. I mean, it's super overkill, but it will work. I often upload flight videos at 2.7K, 2.7K, like 25 megabits per second, which I didn't think that I saw much benefit past about 25 megabits per second. So Firefly Baby, what does it weigh? That's what I wonder. 59 grams. So it's a 59 gram quadcopter, 1202.5 motors. So these are similar motors to what's used on a toothpick, and a toothpick comes in at around 75 grams. But the props are not 3-inch props. What props does it use? 40 millimeter. I think that's 1.5 inches, 1.6 inches. So I think this thing is heavy. I think it's heavy. But it's probably the smallest, lightest damn thing you're going to get with DJI in it. Short of doing a DIY build like a Mr. Shutterbug build. And it is a naked DJI. Isn't it? Is it naked? I think it is. Yeah. So it's a naked Caddx Vista. I think this is the lightest, smallest DJI bind and fly that you could currently buy. And for that reason, some people are going to want it. But boy, how is it going to fly? Is it going to fly like crap? I mean, should we watch a video? Who is this? Who's this guy? Captain Drone. All right, Captain Drone, what do you got? No! No music. We're not having any music. No. Oh, hi, Captain Drone. No copyright violations. Fly it, Captain Drone. Let me see it. Rip! Oh, Insta360 Go is stabilizing the videos. So that's not really telling us much. Right? I see a little jello. So what's the point? Are we going to fly it with Insta360 Go and stabilize the shit out of it and try to use it like a Cinewhoop? Is that the point? I mean, I guess that's a point. I mean, this doesn't look terrible. And we're getting props in view with the stabilization, so we're going to need to zoom in a little. What's the flight time? Oh, lots of jello. I'm seeing lots. I don't know if you guys are seeing it on the stream. So I don't know if this guy's going to freestyle it. I don't even know if that's what it's for. Oh, here we go. Smo 4K, baby. Oh, man. It looks heavy as shit. This looks pretty good, honestly. I guess the big question that you have to ask is, if you were doing this kind of footage, why... Oh, there we go. Crashed it. Why aren't you using a 2-inch or a 3-inch or a Cinewhoop? Yeah, I don't think he's going to freestyle it. Why do you want this tiny, tiny thing? Like, I think if you want this tiny, tiny thing, you want it for indoor flying, like maybe with prop guards on. Nick Burns, do it. Nick Burns. Should have looked him up for the beginning. Firefly 1S Baby Nano. Rippin' review. Nick Burns is a a gem. You're such a handsome man, too. Look at that. Look at that face. Look at that autofocus on his camera. Oh, if only I had a camera that could autofocus. Panasonic Lumix autofocus is garbage. Garbage. I don't use it at all. I'll tap to focus, but the autofocus algorithm is trash. Okay, anyway. All right, Nick, show us what you got. Okay, what's happening here? We're loading the video. There we go. Hang on, let's go back. Let's see if we can do it again. Okay, whoever this guy is, fuck him. Hide user, he's gone. There's somebody spamming the chat. He's gone. Come on, Nick. Show me what you got, buddy. Okay, here we go. Zoop, zwip. Damn. So this is DVR. Oh, this is analog though. This is not the DJI version. This is not the DJI version, Nick. Damn it. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Does he do that? Does he do the DJI version? Does he do the HD? One more chance. I don't know if he does. No. It doesn't look like he does the DJI version. Okay, so that's it. I think it's going to be heavy. But it's tiny and it flies, so. All right, we're not going to... Nurk did the DJI one, but we're not going to just keep watching other people's videos. That's not a good use of the live stream. Is it any good? That's the question. It's the smallest thing you can get with DJI on it. So, in that respect, it's worth something. General Squirrels, thank you for a $5 super chat. Didn't know you could lose VTX range till I saw your stream. It happened to me, and I didn't know why. Got to be worth $5. I think he's talking about powering up your VTX with no antenna, causing you to lose range. Glad I could help you with that. Raven 187, thank you for $2 Australian. Emacs Nanohawk X, micro of the year. Maybe. Emacs makes really good bind and flies. Okay. All right. Swami on PC asks, when I replaced the jumper T-Light with my old FSI 6, the endpoints was above 1,000 and under 2,000 in the outputs page, and it would not let me go over 100. My quad is flying forward. Swami on PC, to get your endpoints over 100%, you need to enable extended limits in the model setup page of your radio. Go to press the model key or the menu key, go to model setup, scroll down to find extended limits, and then enable that, and you'll be able to go over 100%. However, if you do ever end up in a situation where for some reason you cannot change your endpoints on your radio, use the Betaflight RX range command. Jackalope FPV asks in the Discord, thank you for being a patron, Jackalope FPV. If you want to join Jackalope FPV in the Discord server with all the other patrons, you can join my Patreon down in the link below, patreon.com. The way it works is they just take a couple bucks a month or more if you want. It's up to you how much you pay. And they just take it off your credit card every month and give it to me. Well, they give most of it to me. They keep a little bit of it because that's how these things work. It means a lot. YouTube income goes up and down month to month. But Patreon is a way to know that I will probably be able to pay my bills even if everything else dries up. So it's the single best way that you can support me. Jackalope FPV asks, how would you compare your Xylo build to the Lumineer build? Would you say the Xylo was for beginners and the Lumineer is your dream build that you think is the ideal everyday quad? Yeah, exactly. The Lumineer QAV-S is my perfect freestyle build. It's got the FPV cycle 5-inch motors, just no compromises, exactly how I want it to be. The Xylo is made to a budget and made to be easy for beginners to build and fly. Yep, I totally agree with that characterization. Richard asks in the YouTube chat, thank you for watching the stream, Richard. On the TBS PWM adapter, what is wired on the VRX pad for vSense? Is that for an external voltage sensor? Well, let's look it up. Let's see if we can figure it out. What is wired on the VRX pad for vSense? VRX vSen. 5 volt. Ground. Do we have a manual? No. All right, I have to just guess, huh? I'm going to wait until someone in the chat jumps in and tells me. So vSen usually means battery voltage. But why is there a VRX and a vSen and a 5 volt pad? It all looks like the same pad, so it kind of doesn't make sense. It kind of doesn't make sense. Carbon Cage FPV, YouTube isn't going to let you say that word. I'm letting you know why your message didn't go through. VRX probably means the receiver voltage. I'm going to guess that that's a 5 volt pad. And vSense is misleading. I think vSense is not VBAT. I think this is just a 5 volt pad that you can use like to power your servos or whatever. Because the Crossfire Nano does not output 5 volts. So I think this is, you would take a 5 volt regulator to power your servos and solder it to this pad. That's how I read this. But I don't know for sure. That's how I read this, though. At the end of the day, you could just message Mike Chin on Facebook. He's the TBS tech support guy, and he will probably be able to tell you at the end of the day. Anthony DeStefano, thank you for a $2 super chat. When are low rates good? Are they used by any pros? Anthony DeStefano, let's think about rates and what rates do. Rates control how fast the quadcopter spins when you deflect the stick. So the first thing I want you to think about when you think about rates is, what is the fastest you want the quadcopter to spin? Okay. Now, if you're trying to be like Mr. Steele and do snap rolls, you may want the quadcopter to spin relatively fast, maybe even as high as 1100, 1200, 1300 degrees per second are some very fast rates. In fact, I dare say very few people could actually controllably use rates higher than about, say, 1100 to 1300 degrees per second. And by controllable, I mean, let's say I ask you to do a 180 degree snap roll, okay, or a 360 degree roll. If you can't hit that 180 degrees, if you're constantly overshooting or undershooting, then your rates are too high. They're not helping you. But let's say you're a racer. Racers don't do snap rolls, right? If you're a racer, you may have like a 180 degree hairpin turn you need to do, or a slalom, swoosh, 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 okay? And at like 1300 degrees per second, if you were to go to full stick deflection, it would whip around too fast. Okay. So for the kind of turns that a racer does, you may only need 400 or 500 degrees per second. So if you think about the flying that you're going to do, and you think about the sharpest, fastest turn that you're ever going to need to make, that's your max rate. Okay. And in fact, when I've been flying, when I've been racing, and I race with Evan Turner's 533 rates, just because I'm like, okay, let's just go with that. It seems like it works for him. When I'm racing and I miss a turn and I have to bang the stick to get back on line, and I go to full stick deflection and I hit the stick against the edge of the controller and the quad zoop gets back online, I think to myself, that's about the right rates, right? I didn't need any more. I didn't bang the stick all the way over and the quad's like, and I'm like, go faster. Nope, it was just fast enough when I hit the full stick deflection. So that's how you set your rate. Based on the sharpest turn you're going to need to take. At the sharpest turn you're going to need to take, you basically want to be at full stick deflection. Because then you get maximum precision, maximum resolution over the rest of your stick travel. So let's say that you're racing and you only need 500 degrees per second to do the sharp turns of the race course. But you're flying with your freestyle rates and it's 1300 degrees per second. All of your turns are going to be these little stick movements in the center, like 25% of the stick travel. And you're going to have a hard time being precise. Okay? So my advice is use the lowest rates that give you the amount of rotation that you need at full stick deflection. And if that's freestyle, you may want 900 degrees or 700 degrees per second. Some people even do, depending on how fast of a snap roll you want to make. But there's no reason when doing normal flying to need more than 500 or 600 degrees per second. That's the sharpest turns you really need to make under sort of normal cruising around. Everything above, say, 500 or 600 degrees per second is like snappy freestyle moves, which are cool. And then after you've decided what your max rate needs to be, then you play with the expo curve and the S rate curve. Or if you're doing actual rates, you play with the center stick rate and you adjust those things because that controls how big your sort of soft, slow, precise center is versus the snappy full stick deflection. Can you put race and freestyle rates on a Switch? Absolutely, Thomas Shue's World. Betaflight lets you change your rate profile with a Switch. So you could totally do that. I will tell you, if you fly freestyle and you're at 1300 degrees per second, try going down to 900 or even 700. I think 900, you're, especially depending on, here's what you do. Go from 1300 or 1200 degrees per second, take your RC rate down to about 9, so you're about 900 degrees per second, and then adjust your expo so that your center stick feels about the same as it used to. Just do that with gut feel. Just raise or lower the expo till your center stick feels the same, but your snap rolls are just a little slower. And I think you'll find that you have more precision and better control while you're flying. That's my opinion. And if you're racing with your freestyle rates, if you're racing above 600 degrees per second, I guarantee you'll get faster. I used to think I'm going to race with my freestyle rates because my muscle memory is going to be consistent. I was so wrong. The second I went down from, I think I was at about 1100 degrees per second. The second I went down from 1100 to 400 degrees per second, my laps got so much better. My turns were better. I was more able to make mid-turn corrections. Everything got better about racing. Couldn't do freestyle flippy flops, but that's not the point. So if you're racing at, Evan Turner uses 533 degrees per second. I used to race at close to 400. Since Evan uses 533, I thought, well, let's take the advice from somebody who's smarter than me and let's copy him. So I race at 533 right now. But if you're racing at 800, 900, 1,000 or more, I guarantee you'll get faster if you come down to about 400 or 500. Guarantee. Now, MPFPV says changing rates kills muscle memory. MPFPV, there is some truth to that. Like, if I know I'm going to a serious race, Bardwell going to a serious race. No, like when I was getting ready for the GQ, I didn't fly freestyle quads that week. right? I only flew my race quads. Okay? I wouldn't go like rip freestyle, but you can adjust pretty quickly. If you're serious about racing, you wouldn't want to fly your freestyle quads while you're prepping for a race. You just stick to your race rates. But you could get used to like 2 different rate profiles. That's fine. And it's especially true if you try to use expo to kind of get the center stick similar. I bet you that my race and my freestyle have a relatively similar rate curve in the first, say, 1/3 to 1/2 of the stick travel. It's not identical. I know it's not identical. But it's only after you get past like the 50% point where the race quad kind of goes, to 500 degrees per second. And the freestyle quad goes to 900 degrees per second for those snap rolls. Kat says, I've been used to Betaflight defaults forever. Honestly, the Betaflight default rates are pretty trash. I mean, like, in as much as a rate curve can be trash. I think they're too linear. I think you could probably get better results by playing with the rates. So Anthony DeStefano, that's an answer. When are low rates good? Low rates are good for racing. And some Cinewoop pilots who fly in acro will have ultra low rates so that their stick movements are extremely slow and precise. John Goblin says, if I'm actual rates and I lower my max rate down, do I increase or decrease the expo for the same center stick feel? John Goblin, in actual rates, isn't it changing the max rate should leave the center stick almost the same, shouldn't it? Isn't that the whole point of actual rates? That max rate is independent of center stick rate, more or less? Isak Finn Bogason, Iceland FPV, thank you for 750 ISK. That's going to be Icelandic kroner. My ProTech 25 pusher is super loud with the Zing 1404 5500 kV motors. Could I swap the motors out for the Zing 1404 3000 kV for less noisy indoor flying? Isaac, instead of doing that, just do this. Let's see here. 3000 out of 5500 kV is 54%. Go into Betaflight, set a motor output limit of 54% or 55%. And that will have basically the exact same effect. And then you'll be able to tell if the sound is like you want it to be. But I think you'll that'll be basically the same, and it won't cost you any money. Raven 187, thank you for $2 asking me to check out MinChan Kim's latest video. Well, I don't need an excuse to check out MinChan Kim. I don't need an excuse to check out MinChan Kim. He's a badass. We will not be hearing any sound, just in case there's music, though. All right, MinChan. Oh, I'm ready to be impressed. God, he's so stupid fast. Just, I don't even know. Ah! Shut up! MinChan. Ah! Son of a... Gah! The... Ah! I was sure he was going to crash there. Oh, where was that gate? There wasn't even a gate. You couldn't even see it. He went through it so fast. The fuck? The fuck? Sheesh. He's got it in his OSD. The fuck? Look at his throttle in the upper right. Do you see that it's basically hitting? He's the only racer who hits 100%. That's not true, but I never hit 100% when I'm racing, even with a throttle limit. Christ almighty. Sheesh. Sheesh. That guy. Where's his multi-GP time? Is he on the leaderboard yet? I don't think he's on the leaderboard. Is he competing? Jeez. Yeah, that's real time, Morton Upshot. Hang on, guys. I got this. Hang on. I got this. Okay, ready? Playback speed 50%. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to watch MinChan Kim at 50%. This is 50% speed. He's still faster than you. No, here we can truly appreciate his smoothness, though. Let's take it to 25%. So we can truly appreciate how freaking smooth he is. Sheesh. Here we go. Do you see how he pre-turns? Watch how he pre-turns before the gate. 25% speed. Where's the gate? Oh, he is never. Oh, Jesus. Oh, look how tight that is. Golly gee. Oh, it's so tight. What the fuck? God. How is he so close to the gates? This is unreal. Golly. Anybody out there who might say, oh, I think you're speeding up their footage, just look at it in slow-mo and look how precise it is. It's not. It's just he's that good. He's so tight. He's so tight to the... Oh! How did he not hit the gate? What happened? I don't even know what happened there. What happened? Okay. Okay. Oh, what happened? Wait, what happened there? What happened? Is there a skip? What happened there? Is that a cut? Is that a cut? That looks like... What happened there? Hang on. Let's frame by frame this. Now I'm confused. All right, we're going to frame by frame. Okay, here we go. Right here. We're coming in. What happened? That's a cut. Oh, my God. There's a DVR skip. Okay. There's a DVR skip. All right. Well, yeah, something happened there. Yeah, okay. I'm confused there for a minute. Oh, we found it. He's cheating. We finally found his secret. There's a cut in the DVR. It turns out he's only 4 times faster than anyone in the world. Sheesh. This fucking guy. Here's the thing. He's the best in the world at this. No one cares except us. Like, how must it feel? Like, he's as good at quadcopter flying as, like, I don't know. Like, who are you going to pick? Some race car driver or famous actor or sports ball player. He's up there with the frickin' Tom Brady. And yet, no one in the world knows who he is or even understands what he does. Sheesh. Sheesh. All right. All right. Well, thank you for that. That's a hell of a video. Yeah, he needs a 120 FPS DVR. Look how close he cuts these gates. Look how close he is to these gates. His lines are immaculate. Look how close it is! What is he even doing here? This ladder is insane! Look at where the ladder is on screen. Okay, look where the ladder is in the camera. It doesn't move. It doesn't move. Look where it is. It's right there the whole time. Look, my mouse is on it. It didn't move. Christ. All right, cool. Cool. Sync Happens says if he would just give us his PIDs and rates, we'd all be that fast. That's true. No, that's all we need. Okay. He's very good. When am I going to mow the grass again? I mowed the field in the front yard today, DQFPV. Oh, you mean in the video game? Can you turn your volume back up now? It is what it is. I need a sound guy to run my audio. I don't show MinChan Kim to non-FPV people because they can't comprehend what he's doing. It just is over so fast, no one understands it. This is the brilliance of DRL, I have to say. DRL is big, slow racing with lights on it. It is comprehensible to people who are not into FPV. Like, you show them MinChan Kim on MultiGP and it's just like... They're like, oh, cool. They don't understand what he did or how awesome it was. Anthony DeStefano thanks for a $5 super chat. What are the top pilots in the world for each FPV style? I don't know. Name a style. I don't know. How do you define the top for a pilot? Cricket's known for going backwards. Farouk is known for spang style. Johnny is known for juicy style. Willie is known for juicy style. I mean, pilots have a style that they're known for, but who's top? Yeah, I don't know. Raven187 says DRL without Nurk, though. Big shoes to fill. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I think Nurk's going to be okay. I know I'm sure that it's disappointing that he got dropped from DRL, or at least the television season. He's still on the roster. But he's doing good with his commercial work, I think. He's shooting a lot of films and commercials. He got to hang with Potato Jet. So, I mean, come on. So hopefully Nurk's going to be okay. I mean, at the end of the day, as a racer, to have someone say you weren't fast enough. I mean, One IFPV says it's such BS they dropped Nurk. I saw the video where Nurk talked about getting dropped. Tell me if I got this wrong, but I mean, they dropped him because why did they drop him? I confess I didn't watch the whole video. I was like, oh shit, Nurk got dropped, and then I went on and did something else. Yeah, 509 FPV says he hadn't been winning. Okay, that was what I thought. I didn't want to just say, well, he wasn't winning and sound like an asshole, so I'll let 509 FPV do it. You know, with all due respect to Nurk, I mean, it's an objective. When you're in a sports league, your stats are an objective number. And if you're not winning races, then if you're not putting in the fast times, then you get dropped. No hate, no disrespect. I mean, if somebody were to say, oh no, it was a setup. They gave him the slow quads because they wanted to get rid of him. And I just made that up. So please, nobody repeat that. If like there was some drama about it, then there would be drama about it. But it sounds like it was just a purely like, you know, when you are no longer fast enough, you are no longer qualified to be in the league. And, you know, not to take anything away from the disappointment that I know Nurk must be feeling. But and not to take anything away from Nurk's abilities as a pilot, which are extraordinary. But I just think that when DRL first started, the bar was lower. And I say that as I used to be the fastest racing pilot in Knoxville. I used to go, I talked about this at the GQ. I used to show up to races like me and these two other guys who started the Knoxville FPV racing chapter. And we'd show up and we would race. And me and this other guy were like the fast guy. And then this third guy who would show up was the slow guy because he hadn't been flying very long. The bar got raised. We've got guys out there like MinChan, Vanover, Evan Turner, and they're just inhumanly good. And I mean, I'm frankly impressed that Nurk stayed relevant in DRL as long as he did, because he is not a freaking 15-year-old phenom. And let's face it, that matters. That matters. That's my excuse for why I'm not faster, is my age. I gotta go with it. So you know, respect to Nurk, but also people who are like, oh, it's bullshit that he got dropped. It just is what it is. You know, you don't make the numbers, you don't stay on the roster. There's nothing to point out. Nothing to point out there. Raven 187 says, to me, DRL was never about the fastest pilot. Like BMS Thomas, MinChan Kim, Vanover came from multi-GP and destroyed. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made that DRL is about the television show. It's about the roster, that it was never about having the fastest pilots in the world. And that's totally valid. That's a valid argument. You could say that DRL is a television show about FPV racing, and that you pick pilots for their on-screen personality and drama as much as you pick them for their piloting skill. But as soon as you let Alex Vanover be on your show, it's now about speed. And honestly, the first year Vanover got on the show, I assumed he was going to just crush everyone, because I don't think any. I'm going to piss somebody off by saying this, so I apologize in advance. I don't think any of the other DRL pilots were racing pilots on par with Vanover in terms of multi-GP racing. And if I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But like Gab 707, he's a good pilot. He does mountain diving. Is he a multi-GP? When they were not winning podiums for multi-GP. That's not to take anything away from them or insult them or like be starting shit. That's just an objective observation. Those guys were not winning podiums. They were doing other things with their life. More power to them. As soon as you let a Vanover into DRL, the whole game has changed. And then I assumed that he would just crush everyone. And he did win that season, but he didn't just mop the floor with every single other person, which says something about DRL as a sport. That a pilot like Vanover didn't just come in and wipe the floor with them. It says something about the pilots as well. I think their experience at DRL meant that even though Vanover, I think, is probably a better sort of just pure pilot, they were able to hold their own. But then you got Vanover, and then you got Evan. And you see which way this is going. Because when Vanover has 3 seasons of DRL under his belt, now he's going to be an insanely good pilot, and he's going to have experience. And I think that is going to put a lot of pressure on guys like Nurk, who, with all due respect, do not have the same level of raw skill and talent that a guy like Vanover does. And that's not to take away from Vanover's practice and his training, but I have to believe that people who are as good as Vanover are at least somewhat that good because of raw skill and talent, because otherwise I've got no freaking excuse, and I just don't want to live with that. So anyway, I like to make I've made this analogy before, but I don't know if I've made it on a live stream. I used to watch poker. I never really played poker. I mean, I played poker very, very casually. but I watched a lot of poker on TV for a while. And when poker started getting popular on television, there was a group of poker players who were like old school casino players who became popular on TV, okay? And that was the first generation of television poker players. Guys like Daniel Negreanu, although Negreanu has kind of held his own. Daniel Negreanu, Phil Ivey, even older guys than that, whose names I'm going to blank on. But these guys got popular as in-person poker players. And then online poker became a thing. And suddenly you could play millions of hands of poker without going down to a casino. You could play 15 tables at once on 4 screens spread out. And guys started playing poker at a level that had never been seen in the world before. A guy, a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old guy who's been playing poker since the 60s, and he's got a few tens of thousands of hands of poker under his belt, maybe. I don't know, I'm making up these numbers, but you get my point. And then along comes this freaking punk who's played millions of hands of poker online. He's studied the numbers. He's memorized the numbers. He's a freaking computer in his brain. And this second generation of poker players came along, and they crushed the old guys. They just wiped them right out of the floor. Not all of them. Some of the old guys could still hang on. But the second generation was so much better. And I think that happens in a lot of disciplines, that you get the first generation of people and it's just whoever was good at it at all. And then the second and the third generation comes on, and these freaking punk kids who've been doing it since they were tiny babies, and they are so much better. And I think you see that happening in DRL with guys like Vanover and Evan Turner coming in and putting a lot of pressure on the guys who were the first generation. So that's my take on it. But what do? I don't know. Well, if you're a poker player, you just buy a stake in the young punks. You just take all the money you won and you start buying stakes in the young punks. I don't know what DRL pilots are going to do. Anyway. Sync Happens says, same with Dota 2. The level of talent in every tournament just keeps going up. Yeah. Yep. And you start out, like I've been there, you start out in a new hobby that not a new hobby to you, a brand new hobby that is just starting to exist, like FPV. And in the beginning, anybody who can do it at all is the best in the world or the best in your town. Anybody who can do it at all is very good. And then it becomes more popular, and people who are actually good at it, who have an actual innate level of talent and skill, start doing it. And suddenly they are way better than you. It turns out you were never that good. You're just the old guy who started the hobby. That's something. Anyway, 9:57 p.m. We are about to wrap up. There you go. Axel FPV says, I don't want to race. I just want to fly for the joy of it. You should totally do it. You should totally do it. Ciati FPV is going to be streaming. In just a few minutes, he's going to start his stream. There's the link. He's going to be doing giveaways, a Q&A. BQE Ripsqueak V1s become V2. He's going to be upgrading his BQE Ripsqueak. He's posted the link to his stream in the chat. Let me get any super chats that came in while I was ranting. Blizzard FPV, thank you for $5 Canadian. Funds for Ciati FPV's BattleBot. That's it. I'm caught up. You don't have to be the all-time best to be a legend, though, says License to Drive. Hell yeah. There's two things to take from that. Number one is the guys who started the hobby will always be legends because they started the hobby, even though these punk kids come along afterwards and are better pilots than them. Go back and watch the freestyle footage from Sharpoo and Final Glide And even Mr. Steele back when he started, although Mr. Steele has continued to be relevant and stay on top of the game. But go back and watch the freestyle footage. It wasn't that good compared to today. Today, there's kids with 20 hours of flying who are doing stuff that the top pilots in the world were struggling to do 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever. But those guys are still legends, at least to those of us who were there. They're still legends. The other thing I think you can do is I think you can support the next generation. I think about that with respect to YouTube. Right now, I have a lot of subscribers, and people say I'm an important member of the FPV community. And there's people out there making YouTube videos, and they're making good videos, and I try to support them because eventually I'm just going to be that old guy that nobody watches anymore. And I hope when that happens, there will be a whole bunch of the next generation who are like, oh yeah, Bardwell really helped get me going. And maybe that's something. Maybe that's something. All right. That's 10 p.m., guys. That's going to do it for the live stream. Thank you so much for coming out. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the news with It's Blunty, but I'm going to get out of here. And Ciati's going to do his stream. Happy flying, everybody. Have a great stream, Ciati.